What is happening, so fam? It's Tarot Tuesday, and we got a lot of juice that's coming in, a lot of energy is shifting, and we need to find out everything, okay? So before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, follow us on Patreon. Your support on Patreon is always helping us create more content, courses, and workshops. Follow us on TikTok and on Instagram, and let's get started. So this is a double episode here. I'm going to show you how to do a spread that I like to do. Right now we have a total of two decks, three technically if we consider this one. We're going to ignore this piece right here because this is for our collective reading when we get to that part of the reading. So I want you to, if you're ever looking to kind of figure out how the energies of the cosmos are working, you can set up a template like this. Now, these templates, I channel them. Not always do I like write them down. It's kind of like I have this mental database. So what I ended up doing was I ended up grabbing one card from one deck, okay, which is my angel and demons deck, okay, my occult tarot deck. I grabbed one card from each one, the top two cards that just popped out, grabbed them and I put them first on each layer over here. Then I grabbed my Egyptian deck, okay, this one right here, these, and I shuffled the deck. And then after I would shuffle the deck, I ended up saying, okay, I'm ready to, I would hear or I would feel a prompt to basically start pulling the cards, right? Whenever your deck tells you it's ready, right? So then I would put one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left. I did that for the top four cards, kind of like until I had like four on each side, right? So the top 8 cards, just interchanging them from the top. Then I flipped the deck. I did the same process with all the cards underneath on the subconscious portion of the deck, right? So I originally pulled out the top, then I ended up I flipped it over, I pulled out the cards from the bottom, and I repeated one here, one there, one here, one there, one here, one there, one here, one there. Okay? Then the last card I put right here with the deck, and I took the last top card and I put it face down over here. Okay? Then I grabbed this deck and I shuffled it. When it was ready, I basically grabbed the top card, put it here, grab the top card, put it here, grab the next top card, put it here, grab the next top card, and put it here. Then I grabbed the remaining energy of the cards, and I grabbed 3 bottom cards. I put one bottom card here, one bottom card here, and one bottom card here. Now you might follow the same template that I'm describing for you. And you'll notice that you set it up a little bit differently. Maybe your cards tell you to go from right to left, or maybe they tell you pull out just 4 straight in a row here instead of doing the crisscross pattern. But this right here is how we're going to be able to read options in reality. Now, what this spread is going to teach us particularly is the energies that we are not aware of. Those are the energies that are like face down. That's why they're face down, because we're not necessarily perceiving them with our consciousness. The cards that are face up are the cards that we're already kind of like aware of. Maybe we've heard about the messages. Maybe we've been already having experiences in this realm. And then the bridge cards that are here, these red cards, this whole concept right here is going to bridge us into this cosmic energy. So this whole bracket right here has to do with the cosmos itself and the biggest magic that's in play right here. This is one option and this is another option. So this is a good spread if you're reading for a person and the person's like, okay, like I don't know if I should move or I should stay, right? And then you can pull out this kind of spread and say, well, consciously, you know, if you end up moving XYZ, this is unconsciously what you need to know about if you end up moving, okay? And then the cosmos is stating this. If you end up bridging from this sector over here, this is what's going to happen along with this, okay? You can also use this bridge card right here to say, when you harmonize your consciousness and your unconsciousness, this is what's going to happen, Okay, so it's a lot of like specific details that come out of here, and it allows you to kind of like weigh the scales of justice. So you can think about this as like the scales of Ma'at and telling you which way reality is going to be curving. Okay, so that's the gist of it. If you want to use more than just one deck, that's okay too. If you wanted to grab a fourth deck, or you wanted to grab the rest of the decks that you have, shuffle them and just pull a certain series of cards, you could do that and put them here in the center. This would be just random information that your cards want to tell you. I actually pulled these cards last week after I did a TikTok on live, and they've been sitting here for a week. They told me just pull them out, let them sit there, and then you're going to come back to this later and we'll be able to read it. So I technically have 1, 2, 3, 4 different decks in here that I'm not going to be using for the major read. If you have 4 extra decks, you can definitely pull out that same number. So I just pulled out about 3 cards for each layer except for the last card. So 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, and 1 on the very last deck. You can do that intuitively however you feel guided to, like whatever decks end up speaking to you. The energy that's right here with these occult tarot cards that you end up just pulling 1 card out of, those cards are going to be telling you the supremacy of the energy that is kind of like haunting you. Haunting is not a bad thing. It's just the energy that you are most susceptible to, the energy that has the highest influence on you, maybe based off of, something you're manifesting, etc., etc., etc. Okay, we're also going to go ahead and we're going to pull out a passage from the Warrior of Light. Again, we're just going to channel that when we get there. And then we also have some fortune cookies up here, if you guys didn't already notice it. And that those fortune cookies I've had for a long time. In my Quantum Tarot course, I teach you guys how you can divine with anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be, a tarot deck. And in my class, I basically do a whole reading with a random bag of fortune cookies that I bought. This morning I woke up and I'm like, oh, I should pull out 9 fortune cookies, maybe 10 maximum. But, I need 9 for this reading today. And I had exactly 10 cookies left, which was crazy because I haven't even touched these for a while. And then the 10th one was broken. And I was like, oh, damn, that probably would have given us a really good message for, the 10th chakra, our foundations, right? And when I look at it, just to snack on it, I'm like, I'm still going to open it and eat it, right? I look at the message, and the message for the 10th chakra from the cookie was, it's better to be eating rice and cakes alone in peace than it is to be having desserts and ale within fear and bad company. And I'm like, yeah, that's right now what's happening, right? Like, you need to be at peace with whatever's happening in terms of crypto and all that other stuff. It's going to get crazy. I have a couple extra decks on this side over here that I might be using as we dive deeper. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. Okay. So we're going to start off right here. This energy is basically the energy of noon, or the waters of chaos. Yesterday, I talked about wealth alchemy and how we have to be in flow, okay? And it's really funny how the cards are now describing this. Sorry, it wasn't yesterday. It was on Sunday that I did it. I did a wealth alchemy live, and I talked about being in flow, and I literally drew this same symbol before I pulled out these cards. And noon is like the divine secret energy that relies itself within everything. Like, we live inside of noon, and noon lives inside of like his twin, which is like the divine feminine. So noon is like male when flow has become conscious of itself, right? Without the consciousness, all we have is flow left. The next card that comes out is Mescanet. Mescanet means a brand new life, okay? So we are in the flow of accepting a brand new life, and we can also sit here and recognize that part of that shift comes with letting things go, certain things go in our lives, while refortifying other things that make us feel magical. Don't be afraid, because we are protected during this time making these shifts. Now, this is a great example of when the cosmos is telling you like you are protected during this time because you're making shifts, and maybe something's not going right in your life. Maybe you lost $40,000 in your portfolio over crypto for the last, because of what's been going on most recently or something like that, right? It's how you intake the energy that's going to allow you to create new things. So if you lost, 40 grand or more, less, whatever, through crypto, or maybe you're just noticing that like everything was going really good and out of nowhere, like things got really weird, right? Really resistant. That's usually a test for you to shape your consciousness. Are you going to freak out and become emotional? Are you going to sell your stocks and lose money? Or are you going to just be patient, calm, sit down, and just kind of like wait it out? Are you going to recognize that whatever's happening right now is happening for some sort of reason? Let me sit down and find out what that reason is through meditation or like maybe taking action. Okay. The way that you allow this flow to organize itself is the way that it's going to start creating a new life. You're already in flow. You don't have an option to create a new life. Like that's out of the question already. It's how you decide to take that information and shape it. And knowing that you're protected is knowing that this is an illusion. This is one of the craziest things that I've learned is like shit happens in the material universe, but it is literally an illusion. Like, yes, it may seem inconvenient, but if you are experiencing a, quote unquote a nightmare in the dream, right? Because things are not going to plan the way you want it or at the current moment. If you give into the nightmare becomes real and it gets more powerful, right? So you can't do that right now. Like you're dreaming, shit's just not panning out in certain areas. Okay, cool. If shit's panning out for you, amazing. Just keep giving more energy into that. Keep doing whatever you're doing if everything's going good. If things are still kind of like on the iffiness, just keep focusing on the good that you have. Understand that this is going to pass. Like this is just a temporary thing that's going to be happening right now, okay? So, as we understand that, that's the subconscious energy that's really ruling everything. So, the next card that comes out is Thoth, which is very interesting because we just literally stepped into Taurus season, and Taurus season is heavily connected to Mercury, and Mercury is connected to Hermes, and Hermes is Thoth. So here, Thoth is basically telling us, hey, listen, like, we're telling you what's really good. We're telling you what is the best thing that you can be doing at this current moment. Now, 5 and 1 with these two cards. 5 means to change. Change your environment, change who you are, change your wisdom, especially because it's a Thoth card. Thoth is telling us wisdom. Change the way you look at things. Change the way you operate. Change the way you let the flow of your life come into your life. Like you can change when you become aware and when you apply wisdom in something. Mercury also is tied to the energy of commerce and like, traveling and like communication. Thoth is also tied to writing and communication. So right now is a really good time for business owners. If you're somebody who's been really wanting to like expand your business, take it to the next level, connect with other people, now's the time to do it. No excuses. If you're afraid, if things are not in place that you wanted them to be perfect, whatever, now's the time to do it, okay? Like, there's no excuse. Nothing's holding you back. Just get it done. If you have to have sleepless nights for the next week and a half to get it done in a shorter amount of time, now's the time to do it. No excuses, okay? So we have those two divine energies. Now let's look at this bottom energy here. We have the Seven of Cups, okay? So the Seven of Cups is telling us that there's a huge manifestation. Something that seems unreal is now in the works. It's about to come through. And what's really interesting is like it's coming out of the clouds here, right? And we can see that in the cards. It's kind of like this idea that seems almost fanciful. Well, this energy of air is tied to Mercury. Mercury is tied to thought. Mercury is tied to the solar plexus. Mercury is tied to like your inner child. Mercury is tied to the imagination. It's tied to how you perceive reality. The way you perceive reality is going to put things into flow and is going to consciously create that reality. So right now, it's a great time to create a mantra of some sort that is going to empower you consistently. I talked about this on Sunday when I did the wealth alchemy and how to do that. One of my favorite ones to do is I use this phrase as like, I now release all negative energy with blank. I deserve blank, and I accept that blank is a positive force for good. So a great example is if you're working with the Star of Lakshmi that I've taught you through the Soul Alchemy class on Patreon and on Teachable, I now release all negative energy with like monetary, your keyword for monetary. I deserve the keyword for endless prosperity that you have. And I accept that monetary is a positive force for good. I now release all negative energy with money. I deserve wealth, and I accept that money is a positive force for good. You know, you can customize it however it is that you want, but having that thought, writing it down, speaking it, because thought is also about speaking things. When you speak it out into the cosmos, you will amplify it by 10x at whatever thought you have. If it's a negative thought, you're going to maximize that effect by 40 to 70%. So like I've been teaching certain groups how to do death astras, or, like basically like death mantras and stuff like that, which are very powerful and very sacred. Well, those death mantras are very beneficial right now because you can kill ideas and concepts that are holding you back. You can just destroy them altogether. Verbalizing that with the mantra, and then using that to guide yourself in the next direction, okay? So now that we kind of have like a general idea of all of that, we're going to go ahead and just going to see, this right here is going to be the energy that everyone else in the world is going to be affected by. And then they're falling, like if they're not falling in either category B or category A, then they're in the middle where they're kind of just being rattled around by the cosmos, okay? This is not only the state of the globe and collective consciousness, but this is also lessons that we should be paying attention to as we are like guiding ourselves to creating the reality that we know is almost fantastical. This card right here is alone is telling us that something huge is coming and you're not going to believe it. As we step deeper into the fifth dimension, which we're already like we're walking pretty much into the sixth dimension at this point. Some of you have been on the fifth dimension for a hot minute. Like others are now like completely beyond it. And many of the people that are still there are going to be walking into 60 right now, which is understanding like instantaneous transformations and stuff like that. So you're going to see something huge just playing out that you were not expecting, so long that you focus on the wisdom that you're carrying, the choices that you end up making, and you're being in flow with creating a new life, knowing that you're protected and that you're working on yourself. These are extra details for you. And if people don't, like, imagine your neighbor who's not watching this or doesn't do tarot or doesn't talk to their guides. They can't see this right here from our spread. They only know this. Even maybe they might not even know this. This is just happening to them and they're just like, oh, that's just life, right? 3D, like life's happening to them. So let's see what's going on. Oh, hypnos. Ooh, that is such a powerful card right here. Sleep. People are being tempted to go back to sleep. And I've been saying this for a hot minute, like especially when it comes down to crypto, okay? Like there's a shakedown going down on crypto right now. it's just how the game is. And like it's taken a while to understand how that works, but if you've been playing around with it for a while, you already know how it's going to work out. And like there's like this alternate reality that's being created to kind of put people back into sleep and saying like, oh, crypto's a bubble. Oh, crypto's bad. Oh, you saw that? I was just about to buy crypto yesterday and something told me not to. And it just skyrocketed. It went down. Oh my God, Jesus saved me. Like whatever bullshit people are coming up with right now to put themselves back into sleep. This could be the same thing as like, you knew something didn't serve you anymore and like you became completely ignorant to it and now you're falling back asleep. We're seeing that there's a hypnotic state. And what's really interesting too is like Hypnos has a lot of the qualities of Hermes. He has wings, he flies. He kind of seems like he's a messenger of some sort, maybe a messenger of sleep. There's kind of like this flow right now. And I literally explained this too on Sunday where I'm like talking about how, when you create complex ideas, you lose track of what you actually want. So you have to simplify your ideas so that you can be more in flow, and that's using wisdom to create the alchemy that you want. And then a lot of people are completely oblivious to that. They fall asleep, or they're thinking that the whole thing is to heal. And if you're caught in right now a trap where you've been healing, you're like, the only way I'm going to ascend is through healing, you're still asleep, because now is not the time to heal anymore. I know that sounds crazy, and I know some people are like, but how am I supposed to let go of all this trauma? It's about understanding the narrative and how you can have so much more power when you don't reinvigorate your ego. Every time you're healing, you're saying that your ego does exist and your ego is powerful, and that's your identity. You're healing that identity to try to separate from it because you're saying something's wrong with it, instead of just saying, you know what, I'm going to create a totally new flow of reality that's not restricted to the past, right? So then we have Eros, which Eros has been coming up so much in a lot of my personal alchemy. One of the things that I've been teaching in dark alchemy, and I just touch on it very lightly, but it's basically this formula. It's called Thanatos equals Eros, which basically means Eros is the person that we consider Cupid, right? Or the messenger of love. And Thanatos is the messenger of death. So love equals death. If you love to let things go that don't serve you anymore, you are constantly in flow with death. Therefore, there is no like teeter-totter on who's more powerful. Whenever you have resistance to death, which is essentially transforming, rebirth, transcendence, that's when you have like negative experiences, when you have a resistance to it. And it's so against the human nature to say, oh yeah, I love death. And people end up saying, I love death. Usually love death for the wrong reasons. Like, they love it because they want to, watch gore and stuff like that. Loving death is essentially saying you love transformation. You don't have to love death and say that you love horror movies. That's not the same thing. That's a preference. The formula is understanding I love death. I love to let things go. I love to destroy my old limitations and just completely craft a new one, because that's just what I'm capable of. That's the equation of love equals death. Thanatos equals Eros. And Eros is coming through too, telling us like, you need to love yourself. Like, that's his main card. Like, you need to love yourself. You need to understand that people are going back to sleep right now. You need to love yourself. You need to make sure you're not going back to sleep. You need to keep catering to yourself. Like, right now, the universe is changing. We're quantum jumping. And this is what's ridiculous about it. It's like, I've been told to do specific things that have made me feel uncomfortable for a very long time. I do them, and then I see instantaneous results. Like, I just totally jumped into a new reality. On Sunday, I was talking about quantum shifting, quantum leaping is as simple as choosing a new lifestyle. People complicate it and they're like, I gotta go through a freaking warp tunnel, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, you just simply need to understand that you need to make a lifestyle change. Become the person that you want to become. That's it. Do it. Everything else is going to pan out once you start telling yourself, I love myself. I love that I'm going to let go of the fact that I'm not this person anymore, and I'm going to be who I really am. I'm going to quit that job. I'm going to get out of that relationship. I'm going to stop eating those foods. I'm going to stop having that negative self-talk. I'm going to stop doing whatever because I love myself, and I understand that this part of loving myself more is letting certain things die. That's a really powerful message. So then, oh, shut up. Shut up. I didn't even read these. These have literally been face down since last week. No joke. And we're coming back to what? Hermes communication? What? What? And what's crazy is like, didn't I tell you like Hermes and Hypnos had very similar energy? Crazy. I love it when it does like these types of messages. So here again, like all these other cards that I pulled today are fresh. They're 100% fresh. And I haven't been looking at any of the other cards because they're still all face down, okay? I'll leave them here just to like be 100. So Hermes, Thoth, we're in the Hermes energy. We're in Mercury energy, communication. This is another great time where you're going to start feeling that like you want to go ahead and maybe reach out to specific people. Maybe there's something on your mind and you're just like, oh bitch, I want to like fucking chew you out for that one time you did this one thing to me. Does It's not. No, don't put your energy there. Don't use your spell casting. Do not use your spell casting to create a flow that's just going to create more drama. Let things die. If you love yourself, just let it die. You don't need to message that person and tell them, that they suck or what they did to you was like horrible. Just let them go and let go of that whole alternate reality. That's literally all you have to do. Communication here is most important with yourself. Okay, so you really have to make sure that you're being honest with yourself, because Thoth rules the image of Thoth rules the throat chakra. The image of Hermes rules the solar plexus chakra. 3 plus 5, throat 5, solar plexus 3 equals 8, your halo or transcendence, okay? Which equals death anyway, because the 8th chakra is associated to time, which time isn't real, it's an illusion. Shamans have to transcend the 8th chakra, which is understanding the power of death, the power of Maya, the power of your mind, and then it comes all back into what we're talking about right now at a cosmic level. Now, if you're unconscious and you don't know jack shit about any of this, you might be being questioned on like, why don't you love yourself anymore? Or you might have already just fallen asleep already. Maybe you're having really serious conversations with specific people. You'll notice that your telepathic communication with other people is going to be amplified as well. So you're going to end up noticing that, like, okay, you end up, thinking about somebody who didn't, like, a great example was like yesterday. One of my friends was supposed to come over for like our meditation powwow thing, right? And then like an hour before it was about to go down, he bails. And no big deal, like, okay, whatever, I got shit to do, right? But then later on in the night, he was coming through, like, I guess he must have felt guilty that he bailed an hour before, like, the meetup, that he was coming through in the dreams and was just kind of like, hey, I'm really sorry, like, I didn't mean to do that, I hope you don't hate me. And I was just like, let it go, like, obviously I didn't say anything to you, like, I had things to do, it's all good, right? You might be having those kind of communications with people right now, and all of it's real. Like, if you're talking to somebody who passed away, if you're talking to your friend in a quick second, if you thought about your ex for all of like 2 minutes, all of those thoughts are time portals, like, and all of those moments are literally happening, because there is no time, there is no space, and there is no illusion. The only illusion is separation. So the moment you have a thought of your ex, you're literally talking to your ex. Or if you have a thought of your ex and it was like 5 years ago at an amusement park, you're peering into an alternate timeline through your memory of them having that experience again. And if you're really smart, when you're looking in those memories, you're going to go ahead and you're going to, like, send positive energy to the both of them, not just yourself. Because this is something I've learned. Like, if you're having a memory 5 years ago with your ex at an amusement park, and you know that the relationship's going to end 4 months from then, you want to send them energy to make it smoother for both of them. That's the power of being ascended, is being able to use your magic not just for yourself, but for the general timeline. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense for you. Let's keep reading a little bit more. Oh, Ennui, 8 of Cups. So right now a lot of people are realizing there's something that doesn't really, like, it doesn't serve them anymore. They have to walk away from it. And that's a very huge message that's coming through. It's about finding peace. Didn't we talk about peace with that fortune cookie? The foundations, the peace, right? Prudence, 8 of Pentacles. So you need to put in a little bit of, diligence into whatever it is that you're trying to create in this moment, which we already told you, it's about thoughts and what you're speaking out into the cosmos, right? On Sunday, I talk about, putting out the right actions and intentions to make sure that things are coming your way so you're in flow. Right now is a great moment for you to, like, do your research. If you're trying to get deeper into cryptocurrency, it's a good time to kind of, like, brush up on your education. Take a breather. There's nothing wrong with disconnecting from other things to focus on the most important things. If you want to get off of social media because you want to focus more on your business, but you feel like you need your social media to enhance your business, just wing it. Don't wing it and just, like, not do anything. Like, you have to take action. Step away from social media Focus on your business. Social media is going to pick up right where you left off when you're good and ready. The Hermit. Now's the time to meditate, but not get caught up in meditation. All right, it's about action right now. A lot of action energy. You can meditate to get the answers, to understand, or you can turn your actions into a meditation. A lot of times people need cause and effect to operate when you can create cause and effect at the same time. What do I mean? Sometimes people need a meditation for the answers, like answers to come to them through a meditation for them to then take action. Instead of saying, okay, I feel like I got to do something, I'm going to do that. And as I'm doing the thing, taking action in that thing, the manifestations, the meditations, the messages are going to be coming through. And I'm just going to progressively keep moving. I don't have to stop and meditate to have a meditative experience, is pretty much what it comes down to. Think outside of the box because you are manifesting. Do not let anyone get the best of you. Right now is a great time to use luck and the fool's energy and the magician's energy to align you with a higher vibration, because the hoist and coyote is tied to Loki or April Fools, and that's basically the fool energy. So this is a double-ended message here, saying like we're technically looking at the 0 card and the 1 card. You are in this ecstatic state of madness. You have to make sure you keep moving. You don't get stuck in it. Otherwise, you're just gonna create a loop, a cycle that doesn't let you really live in the now moment. The illusion is really thick right now, and if some people are really understanding how it works and other people are not, you cannot get caught up in the illusion. That is the main thing with the tower. The tower is telling us that we're breaking structures right now. This comes back to dark alchemy that I've been teaching, which has to do with set alchemy. Set is tied to the tower energy, which is breaking things, reversing like institutional structures. We're seeing that with the world economy and cryptocurrency. We're seeing that with like whether or not, people are gonna, take the next step with, how the world is going to continue after the pandemic. We're seeing all these different things of like everything's being flipped over so that we can make new materialized changes. So then we come back to 26, which is the alignment of the tree of life. And the tree of life right now is like the cosmos is flowing through you. It always has been. 26 is reminding you, hey, you need to really put yourself in this position of recognizing that when you focus your thoughts on the positive and you keep your thoughts empowered, you will then be able to create the environment. Now, it's interesting how we have 26 here and 16 up top with the tower, because it's almost like you're manifesting a material change. 1 and 6, 1 manifesting 6 material, right? So you're manifesting material change. 2 and 6, 2 be positive, 6 while the material universe shifts. So sometimes we see like we have these peaks where we're like, oh yeah, like I'm making it, and you're like, I'm gonna manifest the next thing, and then all of a sudden you feel it go down, and you see like you feel that that's a bad thing, but maybe you needed to go down for just a quick second so you can skyrocket off screen even higher, right? Because there's an equal exchange that happens when you're going down in that loop. You need to make sure that you're maintaining your strength. Like, okay, my portfolio's down, but it's all happening for a reason. I'm empowered. I'm gonna make it happen. No big deal, right? So great. We have the main juice here. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick rather A or B. Now that we know what's happening in the cosmos, we're going to go ahead and pick out which one of these is for you. I'm going to put that fortune cookie there because it kind of fell over in that end. And I'm feeling kind of like this cookie wants to go over here. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the fortune cookies first. So I'm going to start off with A. And if you didn't pick out A, you can go ahead and you can scrub over to B over here. Okay. What's the message that they're trying to tell us? The message is, hopefully you can read it. How about another fortune? Wait, hold on, no, wait. Love mankind, trust the majority, and never owe anyone. That kind of sounds very familiar. I feel like something like that was easily said. I'll eat these later. All right. So if you pick deck A, we're going to start off with the cosmic energy at the very top right here. What did you end up picking? What's influencing you the most? We have the Eight of Wands, massive change, massive shifts. And then we also have Vehul, which is the angel of grandeur, making one passionate towards God, towards source, towards your own empowerment. Remember, when we read things like this about God, you can take it however it is that you'd like, right? If you want to see it as a power outside of yourself, that's fine. But that's not going to give you the maximum power over reality. And it's going to take you longer because you're not claiming your own power. Here, when she says, makes one passionate towards God, you are source, you are God. So it's making you passionate towards yourself and achieving grandeur with massive changes for yourself. Okay? So that's the main energy that's being ruled for you at this current time. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull out these 4 necks. That's how we're going to read them. And if you're still following around with the tarot tutorial that I'm giving you, that's exactly how you would start off. That card first, and then you read the ones that come right under. So I'm just going to grab them and then flip them over so we can read them with ease. We have Duat. Right now, we are not in the clear. We're making these shifts. The shifts are going to sometimes have a resistance that comes through. The resistance might be just us, having to get past our own limiting beliefs. It could be our own limiting patterns, or it can even be like a setback with your portfolio, for instance, in cryptocurrency, etc., etc. That is only a matter of time, okay? It's an illusion. It's part of the illusion of transcending your ego, transcending an old identity, which is stuck in time. When you transcend yourself, you're automatically transcending time. When you transcend yourself, you're automatically connecting to your spirit, and you're automatically connecting through your soul, okay? And you're finding a new foundation in your reality. You're going to feel resistance because there's portions of you that then has to recalibrate reality, and all those things are usually based in time. That's the major thing that I teach in Antojai is like, you go through this limitation of time that has to be reorganized, and then you have to see all this death happen around you so you can see the illusion of reality, so then you can actually tap into your soul. By doing this, you're going to be able to hit one of the energies of Thoth, which is being able to recognize your soul a little bit more and being able to recognize what it is that means something to you. This is a soul discovery coming back to discovering what it is that you're passionate about yourself. And on Sunday, I was talking about one of the ways that you can really, really unlock a lot of wealth that I've learned is knowing your worth. What is your worth? It shouldn't be a dollar amount. It should be a very descriptive phrase, something like, my worth is undescribable. You'll have more undescribable moments that when you become grateful for them and they present themselves, validate your worth, and then skyrockets your wealth, okay? But you need to understand what that means in terms of your spirit, okay? We have the energy of Sekhmet, which Sekhmet is also heavily tied to the fire energies. She's also very tied to the stone carnelian. She's tied to Set. She's like one of Set's companions. Now, when we look at this vibration of Sekhmet, she's like a no bullshit kind of person. She just goes for what she wants. She's the goddess of war. She's also the goddess of royalty. And she will bring you into this high level of power if you don't accept anything less but power. 100. So you're in this really great place right now where you can make really powerful decisions to open up your reality. Now, interesting how these two cards right here are looking at each other. Two cat goddesses. We have the tiger goddess, and then we have the house cat goddess. We have Beset. Sekhmet is looking at Beset and saying, hey, the way we unlock Sekhem, which is new forms of reality, or the way that we tell reality to reform itself, is finding the power of Beset, which is play. and not accepting anything less than what is entertaining at this time. That's what your subconscious really wants you to do. You need to understand that right now, the power lies in your imagination and playing. Kids sometimes play and they don't even calculate danger because they're so in it, right? And sometimes, yeah, they fall and they trip, and it's not always a bad thing. It's a quick little lesson. They learn that next time if they're going to be adventurous, they have to watch out for the tree, right? If they bumped into the tree previously. So this is a really powerful message telling us, hey, the power lies in being free. The power lies in enacting your thoughts in terms of play. What is going to make you feel happy? Like right now, that's like the biggest lesson that I've been learning as well. Is like, if it doesn't make me happy, if it doesn't make me love what I'm doing, why the fuck am I doing it? There's no reason for me to be doing it. And the hardest part is coming to that conclusion is like, oh, I'm not doing anything else that it doesn't make me happy or doesn't make me like love my life. And then finally saying, all right, how do I solve this problem? Sometimes the illusion of solving the problem is you got to hire somebody else, but I don't want to spend that money. But you don't want to do it either. So you can hold on to the money and be miserable, or you can be in flow, give the money out, have somebody else do the work for you, and then all of a sudden you're happy and everything is just working out for you. You're able to make more money because you're focusing on the things that actually matter to you, because you're still focusing on the importance of play. While you're in play, while you're in love, while you're in communication with yourself, and you're using that wisdom to create the reality that you want, you will ultimately have what you want. With 23, staying positive with those creations coming into play. So then we end up looking here, Shu and Tefnu, air and water, basically, the two main elements that came out when Adam Ra ended up creating life. Air and water. Air, Hermes was in here, air, water being in flow. Water, the waters of life, the flow of universal consciousness. If you're hearing the keywords that I'm talking about right now in alchemy, you know what to do, all right? This is the vibration of allowing ourselves to be in flow with our thoughts so we actually know what's happening with our soul, okay? It's like a no-brainer. So then we come in here and we end up looking at the Shen Ur, which the Shen is grounding a new reality that is beyond the limitations of time. Finally, we end up coming through here, recognizing that in order for us to truly manipulate time and manipulate the highest realms of our possibility, creating whatever it is that we want, and also creating long-lasting shifts that are bonds that we become almost like married to, there's always going to be a little bit of upheaval getting there, okay? Because really the upheaval is not life. The upheaval is not reality. The upheaval is you and how you're in your own way. So as long as you understand that that's part of the process, you'll ground a new earth that actually benefits you in a lot of different ways, that then ends up giving you the flow of your thoughts to be in alignment with your soul. That's going to give you the power to continuously play with your life. And then when we look too at the numbers and numerology, 7, to be in harmony with 7, to be in harmony with harmony, the process of harmony itself. Then we end up having 4 with 2, be positive with your intuition. We have 2 with 8, that ends up being positive with the abundance and the shifts, the clarities that come to you. And then we have 2 and 3, which is basically telling you to be positive with the creations that come through. Now, when we're looking at the divine subconscious, like the divine feminine and divine masculine, the divine masculine needs to understand this part right here. You're going through a shift in time, which time is a program, it's a limitation that has been keeping you away from soul. I'm literally talking about the Antojai process right now. Time, soul, power, okay? Which this power basically comes back to force or form, right? You need to transcend and understand consciously that this is the process that's happening. As long as you understand that power is in play, your subconscious understands that the power is in play. The divine feminine understands that the power is in play, to being in flow with their thoughts. You just need to make sure that you bridge that gap way between yourself. How do you do that? This is where this middle card right here ends up coming in. And we have the Knight of Cups. understanding that this is a learning curve. Like maybe you're not fully aware of how you're going to be in flow right now, but you have to just keep flowing to understand which way you want to be in flow. Sometimes people are like, I got to make sure that I know exactly where I'm going to be going with my flow energy. But you won't know that always. You won't always know that, okay? You need to be in flow to find more flow most of the time. And then you just alternate and curve as things happen. Now, the main cosmic energy that's right here that's really important to pay attention to is the Two of Swords, which is, again, meditate on balancing these two factors. Meditate on the fact, how can you bring more the power of play more in your life? How can you be more in flow with your soul? How can you create a reality that's outside of time? And how can you like not let the stresses that are manifesting in terms of illusions that are trying to hold you back stop you from getting to the next level? Okay, like that's pretty much the gist of it. If you guys want to connect to the full power that's happening in this bridgeway over here, we have the Knight of Swords. You simply need to take action. You need to take fearless action. You need to just go for it. Just do it. Do what you need to do and just do it now. Meditate along the way. Make a meditative practice, however it is that you need to. Know that resistance is only part of you getting closer to what it is that you want. That's all you need to do. Take action. Okay? So if you need just a quick recap on how I read that for the tarot spread, you're basically going to read this whole string right here. Once you understand the message of this string, this has to do all with the male consciousness side, and then this one has to do with the female subconscious side. You can read this pile by itself. You can read this pile by itself. You can compare the cards across with each other. And then in order to balance them, you need to pull the next card that's in the center, which is imitated by this card over here. And then the wisest thing that you can do based off of the cosmos is this, okay? We always bridge everything that we read and we understand here, okay, with what we pulled out in the center originally. In order to align this object or this objective with what we have in the center of the tree, which is basically, this is like the center scale, we need to do this, okay? It's pretty simple, right to the point, okay? So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the second deck B. Sorry about the crackling if you're hearing it. I'm opening up the fortune cookie, and then we're going to pop it open. And this is the message for the fortune cookie. I always open it backwards. It takes courage to lead a life, any life. What a powerful message. I mean, that's just what happens all the time, right? Most people don't want to flow with that, right? So, okay, I'm going to move this one over to the side, and we're going to go ahead and look at the cosmic energy at the top first. We have the energy of Samael, the devil. What? All right, so if you're in the set alchemy, you're practicing dark alchemy right now, and you ended up picking up this deck over here, this is what you need to be working on, summoning like the chapter and working on the chapter that I've written about devil magic. But right now you're going through this experience of seduction and potential downfall. It communicates with the dead and teaches the occult and magic. Okay? So really, this is not a bad thing because it's being called out to you right now. It's basically saying like you have this potentially falling into some dark energies, seduction and downfall. That can be like if you're in a place where you're trying to manifest a lover and like you're doing it because you're mostly horny, you can manifest seduction and then downfall because you'll be disappointed after the fact, right? When you've done that act and everything's been said and over with. You might be downloading a lot of stuff about magic and the occult right now, especially. And maybe if you're also like working with me in terms of dark alchemy and stuff like that I do in the inner circle, this is exactly like I've been teaching you exactly what you need right here to break these patterns, like teaching you the occult, teaching you death magic, which is essentially like communication with the dead. Maybe you might have realized that your loved ones from the afterlife are coming through communicating with you. That's just all part of it. This side has a lot of set energy. So this is really important if you've picked this deck out and you're already working with set alchemy on Patreon or anything like that. You got to really pay attention to the following messages. Sorry, we're going to do this one right here. I'm going to grab them. Just going to put them all down like that. Gonna hold it. Flip it. Okay? Kakui. Now we have another reference here to time and rebirth through the process of time. So we're maybe being seduced to doing things that we know that are not necessarily beneficial for us while we're channeling a lot of magic, while we're also like understanding aspects of the dead, while also understanding the aspects of time, while also understanding how rebirth is played into the illusion of seduction and death and all these other things. This is like a really high level magic right here. Even if you pick this deck and you can't follow along, think about your experiences right now. You're learning a lot about like empowering yourself through death and like letting go of a lot of different things so that you can Nefertitum rebirth yourself. And Seth comes out. This one's face down, dude. I told you this is a lot of Seth energy. I could feel it right off the bat. Seth is all about overpowering and overmastering and doing whatever you want. Literally, his mantra is do whatever the fuck you want. This is his mantra 100%. And Aleister Crowley wrote about it. A lot of different alchemists have written about this particular vibration. If you pick this energy out, set alchemy should be the only thing you're working with if you have any connection to it. If you can get a hold on the manuscript and whatnot that I've been teaching, this is what you need to do. That's going to be your liberation. Because part of the set energy does come back down to seduction, but it also comes down to fertility, and it also comes down to rebirth. This is all about understanding like some deeper nature that you have inside of you that you haven't been paying attention to, and just letting it run loose, just letting it do whatever it wants. By doing that, Amsu, you're going to rebirth yourself in the sense of having ultimate power, having the ability to see things that the normal mind, the normal person cannot perceive. This has to do a lot of like perceptual change. This is a lot of magic energy. Like this right here has to do with a lot of manifestation and like shaping reality into a specific state. This has to do with straight up destruction, letting loose, doing whatever you want, making it happen. If it's not going to empower you, it has no place in your reality whatsoever. That's the main message right here. Looking at the subconscious energies, we come down with Spadet. Now, Spadet is basically like one of the cosmic goddesses that reminds you that you are the center of your universe. You are the center of all universes when you allow your consciousness to be there. And she also takes action. Like she does not care if something's in her way. She will cut it down. She will murder it to continue moving forward, because obstacles do not exist to the cosmos is basically the message that happens with Spadet. Obstacles do not exist in the cosmos, your cosmos, that are bound to time. If it doesn't make you feel rebirth, that's it. It does not exist. Cut it out. Bam. 100%. Because your main thing right now is to rebirth yourself with the ultimate power. And the set energy, if you've done any of the meditations that I provided for it, it's straight up just like changing the way you perceive reality, changing the way you define reality. What is evil? What is darkness? What is the devil? What is Satan? Like, why is Satan bad? Why are demons bad? Why is, sex bad? Why is this bad? Like, what, almost forcing you to look at, like, all these things are part of you anyway, and somehow someone convinced you that they're the problem, right? Like, these natural forces of nature that exist in everyone is a problem, okay? By understanding that, Neith comes up next with Nefertitum. Neith and Nefertitum, basically Neith is the cosmos, is like universal consciousness. Neith is very much connected with Noon. And when these two cards come out, it's like, it's really powerful. It's a huge, massive shift. Like universal consciousness, the Akashic records, bringing in fertility through like an Akashic understanding. We have the energy of Geb, Nut, and Shu, which is like the stars, the earth, and the like basically the matter or air, essentially. This energy, when it comes down to with Set Set is tied to matter. Like he's tied to like the energies of 666, which is to master matter. And what's interesting is like the Gebshu Tefnu energy is also a 6 energy. 6 and 3, add those two, we get 9, so we get 3, 6, 9. In order for your soul to fully expand into the cosmos, it has to understand that it has to embrace who it is at all costs. Positive, negative, neutral, like take the losses that come along with it. You're gonna open up your mouth and people are not gonna like you. That's just part of the game. You know, like you have to just embrace all of it and just understand that, okay, like whatever it is that seems inconvenient is only inconvenient because I've given it the power to become inconvenient. That's it. That's how you ground the cosmos, the material universe, and yourself into a foundation that works for you, is not being reactive to it anymore, by not being so separated within yourself anymore. And I talked about this again, like coming back to that Sunday channeling I did with Wealth Alchemy. I didn't even realize I was saying this, but when we study Seth Alchemy ends up showing you that you need to stop separating ideas, right? So you need to stop saying like evil, like there's good and evil, because that's not true. There's power, and then perception changes that power into good or evil. And sometimes an action that comes from power is originally designed for good and still ends up creating evil over the long term because of something else in play. So this is a really powerful message where in the Sunday channeling, I basically end up telling you, consolidate your ideas. Try to make your ideas, your thoughts be flowing, like they work with each other. Then we have Amit. Okay, Amit is another Seth alchemy here. So the devil, the energy of Set, the energy of Amit. Amit is the chimera energy. That's what she is. She's a crocodile, she's a lion, she's a leopard, she's a hippo. Okay, she's a chimera. So here she's telling you, Amit is also very powerful in the sense that, like, if you're not living from a soul place, if you're lying to yourself, at the end of the day, the cosmos is going to make you pay for that. Whether it's like you reincarnated because you didn't learn the lesson, or it's you, just kind of having to go through some other hardship. It's unnecessary. And it's really interesting because Amit ends up eating your soul after we've balanced the scales of justice. So like right now we're holding this right here, and then the scales are balancing. And then right here it's saying, like, if you don't understand the pure potential of your power, Amit is going to just straight up eat you up. Subconsciously, okay, like, that the cosmos wants you to like reorganize something that lets go of who you are. And consciously, like, you had to become into alignment that you're only going to find fertility by choosing rebirth and accepting nothing less of it. We have a lot of the numbers of 5, change. 5, another change. 6, changing the material universe. 3 and 6 here, allowing us to create a new material universe, with 3 and 5 creating another environment. Okay, so change. You have a lot of 5s here. There's a lot of changing. The last two numbers that come out are 35, which is a divine royal number. This avenue of creating reality may seem a little bit more rigid and difficult at times, but it is the most beneficial. So how do we merge these two concepts together within the yin and the yang? We bring out the King of Wands, owning the power, sitting in the power, using the power, studying the power, knowing how it's going to react by knowing yourself and choosing nothing less but power. Here is personal power, like the power of fertility and rebirth, and like almost slaughter. Like the slayer energy really comes through here. The butcher, the knife energy really comes in here with like the Set alchemy, where here is more so about Sekhem and play and Shen and time, okay, and waters of life, okay. These are a lot of the energies that are affecting us. So cosmically, they're telling you, the Ace of Wands, you need to put yourself in this position of owning that magic and just wielding that wand. No other things are needed right now at this time. To connect this energy fully with the divine scale, the Ace of Cups, accept what is, accept abundance, accept the power. So for here is really just being real with yourself. This whole side right here is just being real with yourself. Seduction's gonna come through, it's gonna test you, like all these other energies are gonna come through. And over here it's all about like take action, like recognize that you got to open up your life to fun. Here you got to stop being so fake about certain things, because you know you're not living from the most authentic space possible. And then it's funny coming back to the tarot, to the the fortune cookie, where this side is saying love mankind, trust the majority, and never owe anyone. We heard that when we were reading this. And then this one says it takes courage to lead a life, any life. It takes courage to know who you really are, what you want, and where you're going next, right? Like, that's crazy. That's like really powerful. It's a beautiful message. So the final card that's going to come through is, because we're going to look at the bottom deck energy of this, the Three of Cups, which the Three of Cups comes out and is just reminding us that we can get everything that we want. The community, the friendships, whatever. Like, it's all there. It's all waiting for us. We just need to choose to give ourselves the opportunity to live that life. Like, the cosmic scales right now are opening themselves to wisdom and thought forms and changes to give you the manifestations that you want, to give you the flow that you want. But you first have to understand that you need to choose your own happiness, your own empowerment, your own soul wealth, and rather go in all in on it, making it a fun process and knowing your own value and your own worth. Or you need to go ahead and still know who you really are on the inside and cut off anything that doesn't allow you to be who you are, okay? Like, that's the gist of it. But well, both ends are talking about power, because Set is about power, and then also is Sekhmet. They're both powerful. Set on this end is more divine masculine. If you ended up picking B, it's all about you're leading more so by divine masculine energy. If you're like me and you ended up choosing more so A, this is more so about like divine feminine energy, just making it fun, not taking things so seriously. So then we're going to pull out a passage from the Lord of Light. I'll do it like, I like this one. Okay. And this is basically saying, the warrior of light has learned that God uses solitude to teach us how to live with other people. He uses rage to show us infinite value of peace. He uses boredom to underline the impatience of adventure and spontaneity. God uses silence to teach us to use words responsibly. He uses tiredness so that we can understand the value of waking up. He uses illness to underline the blessings of good health. He uses fire to teach us about water. He uses earth to explain the value of air. He uses death to show us the importance of life. Talk about synchronicity. The page is on 107. So the page is like 1, you're manifesting, 0 with the cosmos, 7, your harmony. I have literally been talking about fire and water alchemy the last like week and a half on different platforms. I just literally just have been teaching you for months about death alchemy. And then this one talks about, you need to know how to live a life, a specific life, right? Coming back, he shows us death to show us the importance of life. Both of these angles are forcing us to step into this death alchemy. I love pulling out a bunch of different resources like this, rather a book, and then using different cards and doing all of this, because divination doesn't come down to like, I just need a tarot deck and I need the perfect tarot deck, or, I need to be able to do it like under a full moon only to have my highest power. Like, pick up a fucking book, man. A book that makes you feel really good. Like something that you feel connected to, and then turn the book into a channeling opportunity. You can't do that with every book, right? Like where you can just open it and get a message that is in alignment, because not all books are written like this, which are small passages. But you can still pick up a book and be like, listen, I'm trying to understand this one thing. Like, which one of you books is going to help me get there? Oh, you'll feel one of them is just feeling right. You open up the page randomly to wherever it tells you to open up, because that feels right. And then bam, all of a sudden you get the answer. Divination, tarot, your consciousness is not limited to matter. These things are just helpful for us to understand and work with our alchemy. But you are the alchemy. If you're looking to learn how to do divination, channeling, tarot, check the links in my description below. I'm going to, I have a quantum tarot class where I teach you all of these spreads. I have my Antojai class where I teach you how to bend time, space, reality, manifestation. I make you pretty much reach your ultimate ascension, ascended master level. If you love this content and you want to support us and everything that we're doing, please follow us and support us on Patreon or join us on our inner circle. And follow us on Instagram, TikTok. Send you all the love. And I hope you have an amazing day. Let me know how the vibes were. How accurate is this in your reality? Did you like this reading? And did you like this spread? You can do this spread again with me if you want to go ahead. You can replay the spread and then pull your own cards as I pull them out as well. And you'll be able to kind of just mimic and see what I'm looking at and how that is even more fine detailed into your own reality. Sending you all the love.